Hello and welcome to the 125th episode of the Spiritual Brainstorm. In this video, I'd like to discuss something that I called the psychic skin. Now, I don't know if that term exists. I just made it up because I want to compare the human skin and the fact that it is the boundary between our inner and outer experience to what would be, quote unquote, the skin of the being that we are a part of as 8 billion humans. So, as I've said in numerous other videos, the universe is holonic in its organization, meaning that there are parts that assemble to form a whole. That whole is but a part in a bigger whole, and that goes on into infinity. And basically, it's just consciousness that is growing, growing, and growing through these bigger forms to envelop the entire universe ultimately. Through humans, consciousness envelops atoms, molecules, cells, organs. So our consciousness, it's almost we are self-aware matter, if you will, self-aware atoms. And there's something magical about that, of course. The whole idea is that this logic does not stop at humans, and that humans, taken together, also form some kind of coherent whole. And of course, it would be stupid to assume that everything is stupid, then intelligent, self-aware, conscious, and then this is stupid again. That you'd call this something like biosphere or ecosystem, which doesn't imply consciousness or intelligence or any kind of, term. But the point is, we are a fully formed, fully fledged being. That is, our skin, which is the outer boundary of our existence. Again, sorry for my drawing. I'm terrible at drawing. But anyways, our skin is the boundary between what is us, the inside, and the outer reality. Now imagine if we didn't have any skin, or imagine if there wasn't any kind of organization to all of our parts, and that a human would just be a loosely knit network of various organs, or bones, and the brain, and the heart. I'll just draw a heart. Oops, terrible. There we go. And these were just randomly just linked up with cables and stuff and, vessels and whatnot. What would our experience be like? And obviously, well, first of all, it would be short-lived, obviously. But then, would we have that same kind of experience? Would the organs or the parts have the same kind of experience linked up in this weird way rather than being fully organized and protected inside this boundary that we call the skin? And, organized in a way that they don't need to be just a patchwork of different parts. And that is really a vital question because, in my mind, humanity does not yet fulfill all the conditions to form a fully fledged and mature, global, collective organism. I mean, you could see that planet Earth and all the different continents are various organs. but also all of our different belief systems. So you would have like monotheism and the various monotheist religions, atheism, materialist science, even spirituality are kind of like organs, but at the level that is above biology, basically. It's almost as if, biology structures itself into different parts and organs, like the stomach, the brain, the heart. They don't have the same role, they don't do the same things, but they still arrange themselves in a fashion that is orderly, that is logical, rational, that makes sense, that is harmonious. You wouldn't see the stomach try to digest your heart. You wouldn't see your leg trying to kick yourself in the butt. You wouldn't see your hand putting its finger in your eye. It would make no sense, right? So all of the different body parts inside of you are arranged in a harmonious way. And that's why you have a human experience. That's what makes the human experience possible. Whereas humans, as a global sort of planetary consciousness, still have not reached the state of harmony between all of the parts. You'd still find that some organs, in terms of like, if these were like countries, or, even like continents, are busy fighting each other and having wars. And you still see belief systems that are opposing each other and fighting for supremacy, as pretending that only one of them is the ultimate truth, or that one of them holds the keys to the universe and to knowledge and to whatnot. And of course, that's not to say that everything goes and everything is true, but you have to, at one point, when you want to form a global collective organism, you have to find the way to integrate as many of these things as possible in a harmonious way, to form a global coherent whole. And if you've been following my channel, you would have found that is exactly what I'm trying to do here, is to try to put everything into context and to create a form of skin or psychic barrier around humanity which fits all of these things and makes them compatible with each other. Thinking about science and spirituality and how they can be compatible, how they can make sense, how you can have monotheism and everything that's said in the Bible as being true and not incompatible with science. And that requires a lot of mental gymnastics, of course, and not seeing reality as being linear, thinking in multiple dimensions, with multiple timelines, with all kinds of things. And I won't go into detail because I've made 100+ videos on all of these things, so feel free to explore. But the whole point is, people are wondering, like, when will our experience change as humanity? When will this golden age that we've been told that will arrive soon in all the spiritual channelings and everything, when will that happen? And to me, it is when this psychic skin is fully in place, or alternatively, when humans will have sort of, made sense of all the puzzle of all the different parts that humanity is made of. How to integrate peacefully and make peacefully coexist not only countries with each other, different political systems with each other, different belief systems with each other, and doing all of that and creating a sort of a coherent consensus psychic skin, I'll call it, which is a belief system that envelops all others and gives them coherence, but also, even like all different countries and cultures, and that just, wraps some consistent, some kind of harmonizing principle around all of that to make them compatible with each other. So if you look at the experience of humanity for the moment, it is as if we're like unicellular organisms in a swamp. You see, like there's this swamp, and various things happen, and like you could see that you could picture every single unicellular organism as having as being a belief system, for instance. And then, for instance, let's say this is monotheism. And given its specificity, when there's something, an outside event that comes and impacts the swamp, well, first of all, since these unicellular organisms are not wrapped inside a global kind of body, well, they will not experience that event in a similar way. And even, of course, when they're wrapped around a coherent body, then still, like for instance, the outer skin does not experience being burned by fire the same way as internal organs do, but still, there is a kind of exchange here that happens, which makes these experience an outward event in a much more, let's say, consensual or shared way than if they were all completely separate like this. And let's say that this one is like science. So not only would an outward event be experienced in a completely different way by each single-celled organism or like belief system that is separated from another belief system, and of course all of the parts inside of it, let's say here like the proteins, the amino acids. So any event, of course, reaches this boundary, which is basically this boundary around this cell. I would say that that is like the biological skin. And then outward events are translated inward into this structure, into a chemical experience. Because ultimately what happens inside the cell is very sophisticated chemical reactions. And this barrier is almost like the translator. It's what converts an event into a chemical form. And you could say that the planet Earth and its continents and everything, we as humans create a psychic barrier around the planet Earth, and outward events are filtered by the psychic barrier, and then on the other side, they become biological events. Or material events, if you will. Material events. Of course, we don't have yet this common barrier. It's more that we have like patches of barriers here. Each different because like every single group of humans have their own belief systems or their own countries and their own whatever. And so the translation here of any kind of event is always unique to the psychic barrier that a people will have wrapped around them. And you see these attempts at creating this homogeneous psychic skin, as I call it. Because if you look at COVID, every country in the very beginning, every country was reacting differently to it. Like African countries were like, a virus, who cares? We had Ebola, we have pandemics every year, or virtually so. What's the big deal? And then other countries were freaked out and panicked as heck because, of course, for them it's something new, or because of their mentality, because of who they are and whatever. And then all of these multinational institutions tried to say, no, every country should behave the same. Everybody should have the lockdown. Everybody should get vaccinated. Everybody this and that. And I'm not saying that is good or bad. I'm just saying that it is the sign that there is a pressure to create a psychic skin around humanity for humanity to start having a common global collective experience as a global collective organism. And what's quote unquote bad for now is that this psychic barrier or skin is under the control of a small elite. And the reasons for that are numerous, but especially it's the abdication of each individual for wanting to take responsibility for humanity. It's because since most humans have plenty of beliefs about humanity that are completely wrong, like for instance that humanity is bad, that we're evil, that we need to be controlled, that humans are inherently, there's original sin, and we need to be controlled, otherwise we're going to do terrible things, then obviously these aggregate beliefs give power or give rise to a selected elites, which then fulfills that mandate, that secret mandate that everybody sort of wishes in their own little corner as an individual human, thinking, oh, how horrible humanity is, we need to control every human, we are too many on earth, we have too much of an impact. And then of course some humans then take on as volunteers the role of fulfilling those secret, sometimes unconscious, but many times conscious, these secret sort of wishes or wishes of humanity as a whole. And so, then if these molecules or proteins would be discussing their experience, it would be completely different. Like the experience of one single cell organism would not be the experience of another. And the only thing they would have in common is they could agree that they're in this water tank or whatever. But still, like there would be no coherent experience. And what we're trying to do as humanity is to create a psychic barrier, a psychic skin, for us to have a coherent inner reality from the perspective of the being that we're a part of, that is harmonious and peaceful and all that stuff, where basically our belief systems can interact with each other in harmony, where we understand that each system is like an organ and has its purpose in navigating through infinity, for instance. Just like every biological organ we have is designed for our bodies to navigate through material reality and physicality, so too every single belief system is like an organ in the global organism of humanity to navigate successfully in an immaterial reality, to not get lost inside an immaterial reality where ultimately anything and everything can potentially be true. And that is, it's the same with, these unicellular organisms. They need to find harmony between each other in order to manifest a global, collective, coherent experience, which doesn't give rise to chimeric creatures. Because potentially you could see each of these unicellular organisms as like a Lego block, that if assembled in a certain way, they give a human. If assembled in another way, they give like a mouse. If assembled in another way, they give rise to like an ant. But in order to create a harmonious interaction and experience on the outside between all of these organisms, they need to make sure that they arrange in the correct way, right? And that they have the right DNA, the right kind of information, the right kind of, and the same applies to us. Like, for instance, if we would just open all our psychic barrier and let's open up to infinity and say that everything is true, including the reptilians and whatnot, and Arcturians and every single thing is true and whatever, that would create a immense amount of chaos. Whereas getting our shit together, so to speak, on the inside and creating coherence between everything, all the ideas and the belief systems and the countries and the cultures and everything, would create a psychic skin, which would finally allow us to meet ETs or whatever, who can descend and interact with us, because we've made sort of sense of what humanity is. We've become aware and conscious of our uniqueness, who we are, what is our role in the universe, and all that stuff. Because ultimately, if we don't have this psychic skin, then ETs can still contact humans, of course, but only the little, patch of humans that have very specific beliefs about ETs. And that interaction might not even be in the material realm. It might be in the immaterial dimension, but perceived by humans as being material because, their belief system just makes it true, just like kind of in the Matrix movies where your mind makes things real. And, once we form this psychic skin, so to speak, or this coherent global collective organism, that is the key moment where we start having the golden age. And the golden age is, of course, the inner peace that comes with arranging all the parts of an organism in such a way that it creates harmony. And that's so inside your own body, the golden age is already there for all of your cells. Each of your cells is experiencing a golden age, so to speak, because it all works like clockwork inside your body. I mean, all of your cells receive oxygen. They don't have to pay rent. I mean, they're fed, nourished. They receive all the vitamins, everything that they need to carry out their work. And so yeah, that's what I think is really important. And I've already insisted on harmony in many videos. But here I wanted to give a form to what this harmony actually would manifest or bring about. And what I think it would bring about is manifesting a sort of what I would call a psychic skin, which is a universal kind of translator for converting immaterial experiences into material experiences or biological experiences, just the same as, well, your skin is what converts quote unquote, I mean, it's not really immaterial experiences, but let's say like human created experiences into biological experiences, and then your cells convert biological experiences into chemical experiences. You get the idea. And then the chemicals inside of your cells create a chemical experience. There's a chemical barrier around them into physical experience that impacts, the atoms they're made of, and et cetera, et cetera. So immaterial into material, but material through humans as ideas that become material. So for instance, you could say that a house or a car or, a machine or a computer is converted by humans by the psychic barrier from an immaterial concept to becoming a material concept like a computer. And right now, you could see that because we don't have a psychic skin that translates all of this in a harmonious way, we have we create nuclear weapons that we use against each other. So it's almost as if, you as a human, you would go through an experience, and that experience inside your body would create havoc, like your organs would start fighting against each other or something like that. Because your skin is not there, because whatever, like the harmony is not there. Once you have the harmony, then this conversion and your resilience also to external events and the translation and what you should do about them, all of that becomes really, really harmonized and perfect and beautiful. When you prick your finger, for instance, your body reacts instantly to help to not repeat that because you experience pain and all these things. Right now, different parts of humanity can be under attack, and the collective is not reacting, or very little. Because we're not forming a global collective organism yet, and so we're not taking care of every single part of humanity as if we were one. So I hope this concept was interesting to you, the concept of the psychic skin. Let me know what you think, and feel free to post a comment, like, and share, and I'll see you in the next video.